Feed me. Okay, so let's get started then. Let's get started.
Let's go. Let's do it.
All right, guys, this is the ESO Podcast number 8. Number 8. We missed a couple days, but yeah, we're here now.
We're here now.
We're here now. It's actually kind of good because there is this Paul Sage mini, ask me anything, I guess, on MMORPG.com. So we're going to kind of dive into that and go through and pick out some of the questions that he answered that we thought were actually good questions, because a lot of the questions asked are retarded, and he chose to answer those. Which, again, is what we were just talking about, answering the easy questions to get out of answering the tougher ones. So that's the only problem with Ask Me Anythings like this. He can answer the ones he wants to and not get a direct question from like an actual person. So either way, we'll jump in. So let's see, what's the first one?
First one was, I'll read the first one. Let's see here. Okay, thanks for taking the time to come here and answer questions. There seems to have been a lot of talk lately about whether ESO is a real MMO, prompted by some statements you guys made last month about it being playable as a single-player experience. I've been following the development of the game closely for several months, and I don't see any changes in the design of the game. Can you explain why the shift in emphasis on how you describe the game? He replied, I think this has to do with how we approach development. We were worried that the term MMO had become synonymous with a certain type of game with an almost exact set of rules. That was definitely a perception we felt, even internally. But we really wanted to be true to our IP first and still have this amazing social game with thousands of players online. When I started on Ultima Online, MMO was a new term and there weren't limits on it. We don't dislike the term or the association. We love it. We just want to make sure people aren't expecting it to be to be a clone of certain games.
Which is pretty generic answer, I would say.
Generic answer, it's an MMO. Come on. It still feels like an MMO. I mean, it's an Elder Scrolls game, sure. But, I mean, it's still an MMO. You're still questing, you're still with other players doing dungeons, and there's still...
Right.
It's...
And it's like, it's the same thing, like... An MMO is called an MMO for a reason. It's not a bad thing to be labeled as an MMO. Honestly, like, if I play Elder Scrolls Online and it doesn't feel like an MMO, I would be upset. Like, that's the term, that's why I'm playing it, so it's stupid.
And if they didn't want it to be an MMO, they should have called it a multiplayer Elder Scrolls game. If they wanted to... Why do you call it an MMO and this and rule sets? Then just drop the whole MMO. Just call it an online Elder Scrolls game. That's what they should do. Just a multiplayer Elder Scrolls game. Just drop MMO and let people decide if it's an MMO. But yeah. Okay. The next question should be on page 2.
No, the next question is on page 5. He skipped a while. He wrote a lot for this one. Basically, it's a question about mega servers and stuff like that, but it doesn't really have any relevance to... Yeah, this doesn't really matter. Yeah. He spent a little bit of time. But the next question, can player-created guilds have members from all alliances in it? That was already covered before in one of our podcasts. The answer is yes. You can join multiple different alliance guilds, so it's not anything new from that either. And someone in the chat's asking if this is live. Yes, this is live. No, we are not playing the game. This is a podcast for Elder Scrolls Online. The game is not out yet. Wonderful question. Now they're talking. The next kind of question was interesting. Do you have a system in game that will allow me to play with friends, guildmates, even if they're levels below mine, like in PvE, for example? The mentoring system in Rift, where you can adjust your own level to play low-level dungeon quests with your friends, blah, blah, blah. They don't have anything like that currently in game. He says they've looked into it and they have some ideas, but it won't be out on release. So that's kind of cool. I like that system. I'm glad that they're looking into doing something like that. But it's definitely not something that I would expect to be on release. It's not a necessary thing. I'd rather spend time on something else.
Right. What was the next one?
The next one was about trading. It's on page 6. I'll let you read
Wait,
it.
are you sure? Because I'm seeing some other questions before that. Hold on a second. Because I am on page... One second. My internet's being derpy. So I see that really long question that we just read about mega servers, but there's another one. Okay, this one is about buying, selling, and trading with other players. Okay. Thank you very much for being here. I am dying to know more about how, and this is on page 3 actually.
Huh, for me it says
Thank you
page
very
6.
much.
That's weird.
Oh, that's weird. It's from Fade to Black is the person asking. Thank you very much for being here. I am dying to know more about how player-to-player trading works in ESO. How will I buy, sell, or trade with other players? Currently, and this is the answer. Currently, you are able to trade in 2 very important ways. Meeting someone and doing the normal, hey, let's swap items. You literally run up to someone and you can hover over the character and there's like a menu that pops up and you just say trade, and then if they want to accept, like a little question comes up, do you accept the trade or not? And then you hit yes, and a trade window comes up. You double click whatever item you want to go into the trade list. Pretty common stuff.
Right, yeah.
It works well. Number 2 is you'll be able to trade in your guild store. Guild store. This is a really big thing for us, and part of the reason we allow people to join multiple guilds, and part of the reason why we allow people to join multiple guilds. We think this is a pretty exciting feature, and we'll have more details on the full system later. So basically, imagine a trading post slash, not necessarily auction house, not an auction house because you're not auctioning, but basically a trading post within your guild only, so you can have a guild economy. Like think a guild bank, but you can like sell shit to your guildies and like
problem with this for me is you're gonna have people joining guilds just to take a look at the guild banks, see what they have, blah blah blah. Well, it sounds fine. I would rather just have an auction house. Like, I don't want to have to, in order to have access to see multiple different items, and it says guild store too. Does that mean like you could put a price and say, okay, well we got this in one of our runs, we don't need it, we're going to put it in the guild store. If someone has 200 gold, they can take it out. Like,
that's what I guess. That's what
it sounds like to me, right? Like, that's what it totally sounds like. Now, and I don't like that. Why not just have an auction house? I don't want to have to join multiple guilds to have a wide variety of things to choose from. Like, what if I'm looking for a specific, weapon? Like, end game, I have unlimited amounts of gold from farming or whatever, and I want to go out and buy this weapon. And instead of someone just looking on the auction house in one spot, I got to go join like 9,000 guilds. Hey, do you guys have this item? Like,
only can join 5 guilds too. So imagine you join 5 guilds, and they're all like PvPers and like you join 5 PvP guilds. None of them are like doing like progression rating and like unlocking badass gear.
Yeah.
And there's like nothing in the store, and all of a sudden you can't join any more guilds. There's nothing awesome in the stores. There's no auction house, and you're forced to just go find individuals to trade with.
Right.
It's definitely got its issues. I guess we have to see how it works though first.
Exactly. I mean, it's something. This is the first like actually new thing that they've talked about. They have not really talked about trading at all in this game.
Yeah.
I'm glad they have a trading system as far as players go, because you'll still have people sitting in town, saying, "Oh, I want to sell this, or trade this, or whatever," and people will whisper and message them.
I did it.
Yeah.
I won't say that.
So I mean it's something that's going to happen. So the economy can somewhat go through that, but people don't want to have to stay online all the time to be able to sell things, and that's the problem with a whole guild store system. So I hope they elaborate more on that in the future, because it sounds kind of weird right now, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next question. The next question was, will be some sort of kind of arena where I can challenge other players or at least NPCs to a duel with perhaps the option of stacking. I don't know what the last part of that means. Anyways, all dueling and PvP activity currently takes place in Cyrodiil, so there's no dueling in the game whatsoever. He actually elaborates that on a question later. zero dueling in this game, and there's no PvP outside of Cyrodiil. So, nothing like it.
So bad. I remember when I was playing in the beta, and I ran up to another player that was the same level as me, and we were talking in like /say, you know, like just regular talking, not in a party or whatever. And I was like, how awesome would it be if we could duel each other? And the guy was like, yeah, I hope they add it in. I was like, yeah, that'd be super cool to like test builds on each other and whatnot.
Exactly. That's the whole point of having a duel, is to figure out what beats this, what beats that. Does this work with, you know, this? Is this a cool combo to use?
Especially in a game like this where it's so open-ended on what skills and stuff you could have. This is the kind of game where dueling is more important than anything.
Yeah.
I think dueling in this game is more important than World of Warcraft dueling.
I really don't understand why they didn't add it in. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Hopefully it's I don't even know. I don't even want to say hopefully it's on the to-do list, because right now from what he said it sounds like they're not planning on doing it at all.
And it doesn't make any sense to me. It really does. I feel like we were talking about this before we started the podcast. I feel like adding a feature like that where you could just flag someone in your faction for PvP, one-on-one PvP, and then once you get down to like 10 health or 1 health, you surrender and it ends and you just regen your health. How is that difficult to implement if they already have PvP in-game? They already have a PvP system where you can kill other players. Why not just make a feature, a menu where you can just say, yes, I want to, or instead of whenever you go to that, you walk up to a player, you can hit a key and you can like add friend or invite to trade or cancel or add a friends list. It's kind of like PlanetSide 2 style, you know, like you pick what you want to do when you mouse over someone.
Definitely.
Why can't there just be a duel option? And then if they accept the duel, you duel. If they don't want to accept it, they don't have to. It's not hard.
It really doesn't seem like it would be a difficult thing to implement, and again, right now, he just stated there's no plans for it. Hopefully it gets added in.
What a big mistake.
I don't like that. Yeah, definitely a mistake. All right. Now, the next question.
That brings up another thing we've mentioned in the past. You know how you said when World of Warcraft came out, it didn't have anything to compete with, and it started kind of bare bones, and then it added these features over time, you know?
Right.
And MMOs that come out today, they don't get that. They don't get that.
They don't get the luxury.
No. They have to have everything in place already to compete with a game that's been around for a long time. Why would you not add a feature like dueling that's been around since the beginning of fucking WoW? It's before WoW. I was dueling in fucking Diablo 2.
Right.
Like, how could they not add that feature?
I don't know what the reasoning behind it is. He didn't give any reasoning. He just said that it's not in the game. There's no reasoning given on it. Yeah, I know, right? Like, I don't understand. Hopefully they shed some more light on it soon. I mean, it's rough. I don't know why it's not in the game.
They also said no first person, right? But look at what happened. So.
That's true. So let's see. Hopefully, if the community shouts at him loud enough, we can change that. So the next question that I see on here is: can we rejoin an alliance we already beat? Now, this is referring to once you finish your alliance quest line and you hit level 50, you can actually go in and start another alliance quest line. It says, if I start in Ebonheart and then join the Queen, can I rejoin Ebonheart for a more difficult playthrough? And he says, right now you cannot. Now that is interesting. You can't go back to the alliance that you were in if you leave it after you've already completed it. I don't know why, but that's kind of interesting, right?
Yeah, it's a little confusing. After like playing beta and then reading this stuff, it's like, I don't know, I'm confused with certain things. I can't really go into that because it's beta, but
he didn't even really elaborate on the question at all. Like, he just says,
yeah, you can't. No, right now you can't. Yeah. Like,
that doesn't. He says right now you can't. Does that mean in the future you'll be able to, go back and rejoin Ebonheart or whatever if you started as Ebonheart and then went to, Altamirian Dominion or something after that? I don't know. We don't know. That was interesting, though.
Alright, here's another one. Clothing and appearance question. will our equipment/gear... Will our equipped... Oh, he just misspelled equipped. EQUIPT, equipped. Will our equipped gear forced to be our clothing, or will we be able to wear anything we want and have the gears only represent stats? Okay, this is great grammar. I don't want to be forced to wear pieces of clothing I don't want. I want to wear custom outfits of my choosing. Will clothing be like Skyrim, where an armor set is created for your whole body, or will the clothing be separate for each body part? The former is too restricting and hinders character customization immensely. Thank you. The answer is, right now, we do have costumes in the game and disguises, which can be worn over your gear to make you have a different look. We also have options for you to take the gear you like stats and make it look different. So that's cool. The guy that answered the question was the biggest derp in the freaking world. But then the response itself was derpy too. He was asking if you can customize your if you're gonna wear heavy armor, do you have to only like wear heavy armor that's dwarven, or can you like mix and match pieces,
right,
and change stats, etc. And basically what he's saying is yes, you can do that.
I want to know if I can wear a jester outfit and put heavy armor stats on it.
You probably can, man. If they have like a jester costume, you can put that costume on and then it covers your gear. So I just hope they don't have stats on the costumes.
That would be cool.
I hope there's no stats on the costumes. It just gives you an appearance change.
Exactly. Me too, for sure. Faux show. All right.
A jester outfit. What the hell?
That would be awesome, wouldn't it? I want an outfit where I'm like,
hello,
where I'm dressed up as like a cow and I have like these udders on my stomach.
You know those horse heads that people wear that look really realistic and groovy? I just want to wear a horse head and
exactly, that's what I'm talking about.
And have glass armor on. All right. Okay.
I'll let you take the next question too, because it's a little bit longer, and I think you probably have a little bit more experience with this, so I'll let you take the question.
What, with reading?
No, with the healing trees and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, with reading.
Hi, Paul. Big fan. My question is healing in the Elder Scrolls Online limited to 2 paths? You have stated that the 4 classes are just templates and a starting point, as there are loads of skill trees to follow and shape a character to fit our playing styles. However, as a healer, as far as the information has been released, are there only 2 healing skill paths at launch? The Templar's healing path and the Restoration Staff path. Is this not a very limited choice for healers, either being forced to pick a Templar or only having the option of one weapon, the Restoration Staff? Will there be other healing paths that have not been announced? Will the Restoration Staff have different attunements, like the Destruction Staff having Fire, Lightning, and Frost? As it currently stands, if I was to play either a Sorcerer, Nightblood, or Dragon Knight, is the only option I had to be a viable group healer the Restoration Staff path? Thanks. His response is, well, there are 2 full healing paths that aren't just healing, but that is their focus. Also, most healing classes usually have other skills or abilities. For us, you can determine what those are. I think the openness of the skill systems really will allow you to play a very versatile healer. So basically that was the most bullshit Mitt Romney answer I've ever heard, and he dodged everything.
Kind of, yeah.
First of all, the guy said, he straight up said, is the only paths we have Restoration Staff and the Templar healing abilities. He basically answered the question in a way that was beating around the bush, but pretty much, yeah. It's, if you don't have a Restoration Staff and you're a Dragon Knight, you're not... There's a couple of abilities, sure, where you can heal yourself. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a little bit of, like, leeway as far as some self-healing and stuff, like but yeah, it's not like you're gonna have like a full, alright, well, I'm healing, I'm gonna heal, you know, that's not how it is.
Yeah, there's not like a sorcerer healing skill line. You can't be a sorcerer with a Destruction Staff and have healing spells. It doesn't work. Like, if you want healing spells and not a Restoration Staff in your hand, you have to be a Templar. Right. If you want to be a DPS character, any class, and you want to heal and you're not a Templar, you got to have a Resto Staff. That's it. Resto Staff and Templar abilities. So he could have just said, yep, you have to be a Templar or have a Resto Staff, but he gave us this bullshit, which sucks.
For sure.
No, I love Paul Sage, by the way. I think he's the man. I think he's great. I'm not trying to talk S, Paul. I know you're watching, Mr. Sage. I think you're a glorious man. You look good in your glasses. You look like a librarian. I'm digging it.
That librarian Paul Sage look. Everybody, it's the new look.
Answer your questions better though.
Yeah. Okay. So the next question by Ronan. I, for one, do not use anything that even resembles Facebook or Twitter. Any chance you could do some contests in normal forums? Oh, this is a dumb question. Yeah, he said we'll spread out our contests. It's a dumb question.
And then what part of his question was, can I have a beta invite?
If I had $1.
And then his response was, if I had $1.
Wait a minute. We have to give Paul Sage $1 to get a beta invite? Easy.
No, if he has $1, then you can join. If I had $1, of course you could. All right. Here's another one. You mentioned in a German interview that you could choose 5 guilds per player account, but you did not say how many characters we could create for a single account. Could you please tell us the max limit of characters we can create? Thanks in advance, Lagwe, a French fan. We're actually, and the answer is, we're actually still debating on the final numbers. No, I don't really know. I think, personally, it should be a minimum of 4 so you can play each class in your faction.
Yeah, 4 seems like the answer that it's going to be.
If it's not 4, if it's like 3, and you can't play every class, and you have to delete a character or something to play the 4th class, there will be so much rage.
With that free-to-play thing.
Oh no!
$5 for that extra character slot, Soma. Cough it up.
I would be so pissed and give them $20 so I could have 4 extra classes.
Yeah, that's dumb. I agree. It should be 4. It should be 4 for sure. Next question's kind of dumb. It's just beta feedback. No one really cares. Next question. Oh, the next question it's about collision in the game. What kind of collision system will be in the game? Do I move through my friends while playing? Can they push me, or can members of my faction block my way? Now, this is a question that's been kind of debated quite a bit as far as Elder Scrolls Online goes, especially on the forums. People seem to be going both ways on it. And coming from a video game background, having a bachelor's degree in video game art, I know how collision works in video games, and I know how frustrating it can be as like a developer goes. And let me just say that there's no way they can put collision in this game and have it work. Now, with 200 people on your screen at a time, all running in and trying to hit each other, like, there's no way. Could you imagine being one of the guys first in and he's like starting to like, I can't move. Like
I could just see like a melee class character like getting to the party late and like, okay guys, I'm here. And there's like a bunch of archers and healers in the back, and like all the melee guys are in the front, and they're like blocking his way. And like, he's like typing like, excuse me, mister, could you please move to the left? And like he's like squeezing through and like, can I please get to the front? Okay. Like, can you imagine that?
Exactly. Like, as much as you want collision to be in the game, it's not going to work. It won't be there. So stop asking about it.
Yeah. I have a big sword. I gotta get to the front. I can just move for just a minute.
My sword can't reach. It's not gonna work. So no, collision won't be in the game. So
yeah. I mean, it works for certain games, but not really in MMO. I mean, it's unrealistic to like run right through your buddy's body, but it's gotta be that way.
That's rough.
You have to pay to turn off collision.
They're gonna put it in the game. Like, could you imagine the amount of griefing in Elder Scrolls Online if there was collision, especially in PvP? Like,
it'd be rich.
Or even in PvE. Like, we've seen screenshots of like these chests that are like hidden in the trunks of trees, right? Like, the only way out of that tree trunk is the entrance. So you could just walk up behind somebody and just stand there and block them in the tree trunk.
I can just see like a guild like walk up to like a quest giver or like a quest turn-in point,
surround
link arms and like have a ring around an NPC and like you shall not pass.
Or even like a world boss, even like a world boss like spawns in, you can't touch him because they're the guild surrounding him.
Giant ring of guild members all like
there's too much trolling you can do with collision in MMOs. It just can't work.
Yeah.
Fun thought, though. Really fun to think about, but can't work.
All right, here's another one. This is from Actium. How does respawn, time of resources, locked chests, and mobs work in public dungeons? Is it possible to camp bosses if there are any? And here's the response. You'd probably do yourself a bigger favor if you didn't camp it. It isn't worth camping. You'll have plenty of opportunities to get great loot all over the place.
Now,
what a shit answer.
Let me explain why this answer's so bad. Basically, he's saying there's no penalty for camping anything, but you shouldn't do it.
What he's saying is, yes, you can camp shit, but don't do it because it's not worth it. That's what he's saying, is yeah.
When actually,
yes,
it probably is worth it.
Yeah,
but you could just get it somewhere else eventually. Like, that is such a sweep it under the rug question.
Oh, I know. It's like, I'm trying to think of like a good analogy. You'd probably do yourself a bigger favor if you didn't camp. It's like, hey, Daddy, can I eat all these cookies? Yes, you can eat all those cookies, but if you do, you're gonna get a stomach ache. But yeah, you can if you want. Like, technically, you could do it, though. But it's not a good idea.
But what's the stomach ache in ESO? Like missing out on a little bit of experience or something?
Like, honestly, like, when I was playing in the beta, there is bosses and caves and whatnot where shit respawns. Like, if you run up to a chest and you pick the lock and you take the chest... Okay, I'm gonna say something, I don't know if I'm gonna get in trouble for this, but it's just so hilarious that I have to. Okay. I walked into this tavern, and there was a chest in it, and it was locked, and there was like 5 mother effers trying to get into it, and if someone is trying to open a chest and pick the lock, you have to wait. It's like you can't open the chest because it's being used by someone else, right? And you'll see like 5 players like waiting because they all want their chance to open it.
Hurry up,
and I saw these 5 dudes. There was these 5 players.
I'm laughing just because you're laughing. I don't even know what happened.
There were these 5 players standing next to this chest when I was playing, and I ran in the tower and I saw them, and they were like, "How do you lockpick?" And they were like teaching each other, like, "All right, you go next, and you have to like hold down the mouse button, and then whenever the sound activation happens, you just let go, and that's 1 tumbler." And I like waltzed up, and they were like talking about how to do it, and I didn't even say a word. I super quickly picked the lock, took the loot, and it was like an awesome like blue hammer. And like I took that shit, the chest disappeared, and I walked out, and like the guy was like, "Hey, I was teaching my friends how to pick locks, and you stole our chest." And I was like, "YOLO, fuck you, buddy," and like left the tavern and like took and the chest disappeared, and like they couldn't practice anymore. Now that's some griefing. That's some griefing.
You should have just
It was so fun. They were like, "We needed that." I was like, "Screw you!" And then I linked the hammer in chat that I got out of the chest.
Oh my god!
They were like, "Son of a." It was awesome, dude. But I think there's like a respawn timer. I think like after like 2 to 5 minutes or something like that, it'll respawn with different loot in it.
Yeah, but
that's
what
the
we're
same
talking
with
about, though.
That's the same with like iron nodes and stuff. Yeah, exactly. That's what we're talking about. Exactly. So yes, you could sit in that tavern and camp, and just get chest after chest after chest, and that's not good.
So yeah, there's that, and the answer from that is, while it's not even really an honest answer. There's no downside to camping anything. Like, you're gonna look like a dick, but who cares? Like, who cares?
I got a giant blue hammer that had some cool stuff. I can't tell you what it did, but it was awesome. I wish I could tell you some of the enchantments and stuff and items, but I can't.
All right. So the next question is, ESO appears to have traditional MMO leveling, so how will exploration work out? In Skyrim, I could pretty much wander everywhere and find relevant content to do. In ESO, are we limited to level bracketed zones? where we out-level an area becomes irrelevant in terms of both exploration and or immersion and character advancement. Also in PvE, can we really help other players cooperatively, or if they had an already tagged a mob, will they take an EXP or an experience penalty because someone else helped them? So, kind of a big topic as far as ESO goes, and immersion and being able to explore and stuff. So it's a good question, and I'm glad that he answered it. He says, "Yep, there are levels. I've worked on an MMO where there weren't levels, and this certainly has merits. However, leveling also has merits, being able to really feel progression in more stumble upon stranger encounters and lots more than it would take almost all night to cover. I think that what we've created gives you a lot of freedom to explore because these aren't small areas. That said, once you reach the end of your alliance and go into another alliance, you're top level, or should be." So, now this is something that I've read a lot about on the forums. If you guys have ever checked out the ESO forums, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, you should. There's a lot of people in there that are discussing immersion and what they have seen in the beta or whatever, and that's not really something that's under NDA as far as exploration and stuff goes. So people are talking about it, and it's kind of a widely debated topic as far as this goes, in which it absolutely should be. Now, some people seem to think that, or the developers seem to think that right now, that the immersion and the exploration seems to be enough. But most of what I've read and what I've heard, people seem to disagree. Now, this is something to be worried about. Yeah. But that's what he's saying. Basically, yes, there's levels. You level up. You go into different areas. He didn't answer the part about PvE, tagging enemies and stuff like that. I have no idea how that works. But yeah, so interesting. I find it funny that Paul Sage will keep saying that there's a lot of exploration, but everything that I've read has pretty much said that it's not as big as what you're being led to believe, I think.
Yeah. You play Skyrim, you leave the starting cave, you have a whole open world zone, a whole country to traverse, and you can spend hundreds of hours in that one little zone, right?
Right.
Little zone. When it comes down to an ESO, an MMO rather, you can't just give someone a Skyrim style country or thousands of players a giant zone the size of Skyrim like in a single player game and let them go run around. Like, that's going to be Cyrodiil, obviously. That's going to be Cyrodiil for PvP. But in terms of like leveling up for PvE and how I guess you could do it, but it'd be expensive and tough on the servers. But in MMOs, you zone stuff. You have zones within zones, so you can more easily control player traffic and the amounts of players in certain areas. And I'm telling you right now, ESO is an MMO. It's not a single player game. It's not like running around in Skyrim exploring.
Yeah.
It's a progression system. If you're level 1, you need to stick to the level 1 area, and you are confined to exploring within that level 1 area, because if you go somewhere else, you'll get your ass kicked instantly and die. So you have to stay where you're viable.
This is something
that kills exploration. It does.
Yeah, this is something that we have to continually remember in our head. Okay, we're not necessarily playing Skyrim. This is not Skyrim.
Right.
So they're trying to make it feel Skyrim-y with making it an MMO, and I think I'm even, I just realized this myself, I am even a victim of, I'm guilty of already jumping to conclusion as far as the exploration goes. But you just got to remember that it's an MMO. There's progression. There's areas you're going to be able to go. Now, I like that. I like progression. I like leveling. I like feeling like, okay, I can go into this next area. These are level 10 mobs. I'm level 8. I could probably go in. I like going and having separate areas for leveling. but I do like to be able to move around it and find things. And as long as there's a somewhat of a balance between that, I'll be fine. But I think people who are really looking for like a Skyrim open world, like I'm just going to go anywhere, do whatever I want, those people are going to be a little bit disappointed. And I think those are the people that are commenting on the forums mostly, are those people that were expecting Skyrim online, but it's not Skyrim online.
Those guys are going to want to be hanging out in Cyrodiil.
Yeah.
Cyrodiil is going to be a massive, massive, massive zone that you can run from one corner to the other and not worry about load screens or phasing. It's going to be just one open, huge Skyrim-style continent.
I have a feeling I'm going to spend a lot of time in there.
What's that?
I said I have a feeling I'm going to spend a lot of time in there. I can't wait to kill people in
I have a feeling that
ESO.
I have a feeling that Cyrodiil is going to be by far the most important part of the game, and that if Cyrodiil fails, the whole game is going to fail. It's based off Cyrodiil at this point. Like, the PvE for ESO is fun, and the zones are great, and it's awesome, but if Cyrodiil's giant open countryside is somehow limiting, and it doesn't feel free and open when we're going out and PvPing with each other, and it doesn't feel like I could run from Cheydinhal to Bruma, and it's like a big open feeling, it's going to be bad. I'm sure it will be fine, because they've already stated, yes, you can run from one corner of Cyrodiil to the other, and it's not chopped up. But, I mean, I haven't been able to... I mean, there was no access to that that I've been able to see, so... I don't even know what Cyrodiil looks like yet in the game, but...
For sure.
We'll find out. Okay. Let's see what the next one was. Okay. Hey, Paul. The game looks great. I'm excited to delve into the world and see what is in store for me and my friends. My concern/question is this. In every MMO, and even in Skyrim, mages seem to be eventually take a backseat to more damage-dealing classes. With the exception of AoE attacks, mages never seem to get their opportunity to shine, especially in 1v1 combat scenarios. What mechanics do you have in place to ensure classes stay balanced through the entire leveling process and in PvP? Are there ways that mages can specialize in 1v1 combat scenarios? Thanks, Paul. Zach, aka MJ Brutus. Paul's response was, remember, you'll have access to many of the same abilities and skills as everyone else. How you slot them in your shortcut bar will make the difference, as will your skill, gear, etc. You'll just have to find what works for you in PvP, but no class should be better than another in PvP.
Now, this is an interesting question, too, because, let's face it, the way they balanced Skyrim, as far as mages go, was terrible.
Yeah,
like, their balancing was like, I like playing as a mage. First thing I did when my first playthrough of Skyrim was, I didn't even know you could go to a main city and then take the wagon ride up there. Okay, I ran all the way up to the mages college. Like, I ran all the way up there, got killed by spiders. I got killed by spiders like 80 times, but I made it. Okay. And it really just didn't work out. I tried making it. I mean, I played Skyrim. I probably almost close to 1,000 hours through both my 360 and the PC, and I can't tell you how many different ways I've built a mage to see if it would work, and it just never does. You always kill things faster than if you were just running there with a two-handed weapon or dual weapons. So I really hope that there is a good balance, and it's a very legitimate question because in this game where it seems like AoE is going to be key, I guess, the main thing for a lot of the mages, how is that going to do in a 1v1 scenario? So hopefully it is balanced.
Yeah, and I mean, you got to think about it though. Like, let's say you're a light armor destruction staff mage and a warrior's running towards you. You can always swap weapons and pull up a sword and shield or another sword or dual hand weapons, and you can always go toe to toe. And
Definitely.
you could use your destruction staff to freeze the guy in place, and then, kite him, and then as soon as he gets close, whip out your sword, and then do like a cripple so that he's slowed down, and then run away from him, take out your staff. There's going to be so many ways. I don't think there's going to be any issues with class balance.
I hope so.
I
hope
think
I hope it's not
mages
gonna be like,
will
well,
viable.
destruction staff is like the weakest thing for PvP because it's all like, you know, AoE. Like, I hope it's balanced somewhat.
I obviously can't talk about the beta very much, but I'm telling you right now, if they've done anything right with Elder Scrolls Online, it's skills and like balancing and how they've got all that stuff working.
Cool.
That is by far the creme de la creme of ESO. They have that shit on point right now.
Well, I like that question a lot. I thought that was a great question.
It's on point. They're doing a good job with that part. Very good job.
The next question, you know, will it be a model where class can change spec on the fly during its array to fit various roles? Now, this is something we've talked about already. You can swap out abilities as long as you're not in combat. So,
right.
Basically, yes, if you want to.
And of course, you can switch your weapon and have a whole other hotbar.
Exactly.
So don't forget, you're not just gonna have 5 spells and then an ultimate. You're gonna have 10 spells and 2 ultimates because you can hit. I think that the key was the tilde key. I remapped it to Z, like in Skyrim style, so I could swap my weapon. I got to a certain level in the beta where I could have used a ranged weapon or another melee weapon if I wanted to, and I had a whole nother skill bar to use.
Right.
And it completely changed the game. Hitting level 15 was like, I don't know if, remember hitting 10 in World of Warcraft for the first time and like getting to use a talent point? Remember how awesome that feeling was?
Yeah, it's like the same thing in Star Wars too.
Yeah, it was like such a good feeling. Oh, I get to spend a talent point. Okay, whenever you finally get to like start leveling up a second weapon or staff or whatever it is you want to do, and you get a whole new skill bar that you can play with and even utilize in combat, the whole game changes. It is so fucking good. Like,
for sure.
I can't wait for you guys to experience it. It is very well done.
So, I'm kind of skipping ahead some of these questions because a lot of them are just he's answering the easy ones. So I'm kind of like trying to find things that we haven't really discussed a whole lot.
We don't want to skip this one. My question is: are healing AoEs and cones the only healing abilities in the game? This is a pretty important question. Question was: are healing AoEs and cones the only healing abilities in the game? And in the past, there was an Ask Me Anything where someone said, "What kind of heals are in the game? Do I have to like heal people based on heal bars, like in WoW style?" And in the past interview, it was like only AoEs and only cones. But now they're saying no, there are others. We have what we call smart heals and other types of healing too. And what a smart heal is basically, let's say you're a Templar and you got your sword and shield out and you're fighting and your buddy is a Dragon Knight and he's hurt. You can activate an ability that will automatically, in a radius, heal the lowest health player like on your team or that you're allied with, and it'll like shoot, you know, like a bolt of healing light at him and or whatever, and so you don't actually have to target him. You just hit the spell and it heals up that person. Now that is smart healing. That's smart. That's very good. I like that.
That is cool, but that can also cause problems too.
How?
Because sometimes you don't always need to heal the person with the lowest health. If it's between your healer who's taking damage or your Dragon Knight that's taking damage, and the Dragon Knight has 10% lower health, I would still rather heal the squishy healer.
That's true, but get this. You can aim that smart heal at a player instead, though. So
that's perfect.
Let's say I'm fighting a monster and I hit the smart heal and it goes and heals the warrior, but that mage was dying and he needed the heal. I can point my crosshair at him and then hit that smart heal, and because I'm pointing at an ally, it'll heal him instead.
Well, that's perfect then. Okay.
That is good.
That's good. I was sure on that, so that's cool. I like that.
It's a great system. It's
cool.
Yeah, the combat healing, the spells and skills, though I don't know who was behind that stuff, but that guy's a genius. They did a really good job. I really believe they did a good job.
All right, one of the next questions that I kind of skipped ahead to. What level of customization will be allowed with crafting beyond additives? Will there be naming, crafter's mark, or colorization? He says yes, naming, and we're discussing other means of customization for crafters internally. So we'll post more about that as we actually see it in game, which is cool. It means they're testing some things out and seeing how that works. So if anybody does get in the beta here in the next few weeks or whatever, that's something to look into and see what they're doing with that. So that's kind of neat.
Yeah. Yeah. Typical stuff. If you make a sword and you give it to someone, it's gonna have your name on it, like created by Soma or created by Deagen or something like that. So
now I'm hoping that if you craft it, you can name the sword. Like that's what I was hoping that it sounded like he was asking about.
Yeah, that's what I think, and he even says yes, naming, and we were discussing other means of customization. I think maybe so.
Because if it was just a name, it would be like branding, right? Like that would be your name brand. So
like the sword of ass rapery or something like that. Like you could make that. Like you could make that if you wanted to.
But it would have your name next to it. Hopefully you would.
The sword of ass rapery.
Made by Soma.
Soma Aaron of Mournhold.
Exactly. You don't want to go too crazy with it. You get in trouble. So.
Right.
Name at your own will.
I'm sure there'll be like limitations, like you can't type in fag or something rude like that,
Right. I'm sure it's gonna have
censor
a strict amount of words you can put in there. One of the next questions is a question about soft lock, asking him to clarify. Basically, he goes into a little bit of detail on it, saying, if you want to focus on one target and a target somehow moves in front of that target or is directly behind it, the soft lock basically just guarantees that you're going to be hitting the target you want to hit. That's kind of all that means.
Right. And then there's also a key that you can hit. Let's say it's the P key, or I'm just throwing it out there. You hit the P key whenever you have that box. So there's 3 people and they're all stacked. And there's a healer and then 2 archers. And you want to focus the healer, right? So you point at the group, and then you tab until you get to the healer, and then you're attacking that healer, not the 2 archers, right? Then you can hit the P key, and the box will stay around him. You can actually look away, go do something else, look back, and that box will still be around that healer. So when you start shooting into that crowd again, it hits the healer, not the other 2 guys.
Which is exactly what I was hoping was in the game like 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was like episode 3 or 2.
Yes.
We had a whole section about this, and Deagen said, and I was like, nope, you're not gonna get that, Deagen. No. Well, I was wrong.
You can eat it, Soma. You can eat all of it.
Nom, I'm eating it.
So that is actually really, really, really cool, and I am so glad that they put that in, because that is exactly what I wanted. When I visualize myself like playing a game that I haven't played, and I'm kind of picturing it in my head, that was what I wanted, as far as not even because it's like making the game easy on you, but that's just how it should be. Like if you lock on somebody, you should be able to turn away and look back and still be locked. So that's good. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna let Soma take this question on the crafting question, because it's a very BS answer in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, we've already discussed this
a little bit, yeah. This answer is.
Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready for this bull crap? Okay. Crafting in other Elder Scrolls games has been sort of a grind, gathering enormous amounts of materials, and then sitting in said crafting spot, grinding out daggers, potions, or leather gloves to quickly speed things along. Due to crafting max level gear is a huge advantage in the single player games. What? Amounts of materials are sitting in said crafting spot, grinding out daggers and potions and gloves to quickly speed things along.
Right, as in like saying grind. I'm gonna make 10,000 daggers to get to level 80. Yeah.
Exactly. And then he says, I know you say items will be equal when it comes to effectiveness if the item was looted from a dungeon or crafted by a player of equal level from the dungeon, but will the grind be as taxing in ESO as it was in Elder Scrolls to become an effective crafter? So he's basically asking, do I have to grind in crafting like I did in ESO?
Yeah. How grindy is the crafting question?
And this is Paul Sage's response. I don't know that I agree with your assessment about it being a grind. I really enjoyed the hell out of Skyrim crafting. That said, we are doing things to not make it a grind, by which I mean not repetitive activity with little degrees of success. But understand some people define grind very differently. A lot of people like low-key activities they can do while they socialize in the game. We want to make sure they have those things in the game as well. Okay. So he basically was like, well, it's all what you think grinding is, because I liked it, so it wasn't a grind for me. No, that's a terrible answer. It is a grind. It was his way of saying, yes, it's still a grind, but it's all in whether you're the kind of person that doesn't mind the grind or not.
Yeah. It's even more grindy after they patched the crafting in Skyrim. It takes even longer now.
Yeah.
It takes forever.
Straight up, they've talked about additives and like main ingredients and stuff like that. Like they've already said how crafting works, so I'm not spoiling anything when I say you have to go out in the world. You have to find materials. Let's say you go and find a piece of iron, and then you find some copper, and then you find some, I don't know, like gold and a diamond and something else. You go to the crafting place, you put the iron out, you make your sword, then you add in the secondary thing, and then you have like a few additive slots, so you put that diamond in there, and you put this in there, and then you create your sword, and then you level up a little bit from novice to novice level 1. I don't know. There's still a grind. You still have to go find your stuff. You still got to take it to an actual crafting area, an anvil or a cooking fire or whatever, and you still have to put the shit that you found and grind it out finding into the table, create the thing. There's no like fail. You can't like fail to make something, which is good. But yeah, you still have to slowly level up your crafting by finding stuff and creating it, and it might not necessarily be an upgrade. So
yeah, I just find it funny that he tried to throw it out there that people's definition of grind is different. Like, no, it's not. Like, grinding is grinding is grinding. Just because you enjoyed it doesn't make it less of a grind. It's still a grind.
Yeah.
And I hate to break it to people, but crafting is going to be a grind. It should. I hate saying it, but it should be a grind. It should never be easy to get to max crafting. I would rather it be a grind.
Yeah.
It's gonna suck to have to do it, but in the long run, it's better to have, make it difficult for people to do and deter people away from doing it, because the people that actually do put the time in to do it get the benefit from it. So it should be difficult.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I've talked about this in the past. I've always been anti-crafting. I've always been, let's go out in PvP and PvE. I don't care about crafting. I did spend time crafting in the closed beta, and I actually enjoyed it, which is weird. Yeah, it's kind of grindy, but the way that like they have the stuff set up, like the way that the additives look, and there's still question marks, like what properties are in it. Like if you find like a torch bug or something, there's 4 question marks, like what will it do? Like you have to discover what these things do, Skyrim style. So there's still some fun to be had whenever you're finding ingredients and stuff, and you can like tear ingredients apart, and like it's pretty cool. It's still gonna be grindy, but I'm telling you right now, it's better than say like World of Warcraft or Skyrim system. It's definitely more engaging. Still a grind though. It is still a grind, but it's a pretty damn good crafting system. Enough to the point where someone that never crafts ever and hates it actually did it and enjoyed it. So.
Cool. Well, there you go. That's the one question that I've seen in crafting throughout this, Ask Me Anything. So the next question is something about, they've seen a lot of people saying that this game, they want the game to play like an Elder Scrolls game with a lot of solo content, and a lot of people saying the opposite, and some people saying they want a group-oriented game. And he's just asking him what kind of, balance do they have as far as the solo content to the group content. And Paul Sage basically just says, I think there's a happy medium. See my answer for veteran content as an example. Also make sure... Yeah, so anyways. Now he's talking about family stuff, so that last part of that doesn't even have any relevance. But basically, he's saying there's a happy medium. So if you guys are looking for solo content, you'll be able to do solo content. If you're looking for group content, they're going to have that in as well. So I don't think people, leaning towards one side or the other are going to generally feel like they're being left out, because I think they have a pretty good balance.
And don't forget, you're going to be able to fill out a questionnaire whenever you get into the server for the first time. It'll tell you, like, okay, would you like to play in a more empty, soloed out shard, or would you like to play with a bunch of people that are PvP oriented and like to do group questing, or would you like to play in a medium pop shard with mature players that team up when they have to, etc. You're going to have options with your shards that you play in within the mega server. So I'm assuming there's going to be, like, not a completely solo shard where it's just you and that's it. Like, they would never do that, because a lot of people would do that, and there'd be so many shards, it'd be crazy on the server.
Definitely.
But there is going to be solo shards where it's a very low pop kind of shard, and you see other players, but you kind of like keep your distance. You might say hi to them and slash wave, and then like keep going on your own merry way, and that's good. That's a good thing.
Yeah, for people that want to do that, it's there. All right, the next two questions I'm going to kind of group together. How long / how many people are your biggest raids? The reason why we are still testing is for the best numbers. They haven't set a specific number. There is confirmed 4-man like dungeons, and then the 4-man heroic dungeons, if you want to call them that. That is in. We know that, but we don't know the group size beyond that point, and he still doesn't. They don't know either. They're still testing.
They said 24. They said 24.
Well, he's saying they're still testing. So I don't know. Maybe they're going back on it and trying to change it around. They could be. I don't know. 24 was said in the past, but maybe they're moving it around. Maybe they want to be it a little bit lower. And the next question.
I hope it's 16-man personally.
I hope it's 16-man too. I think that'd be a good number. Is there a prison bounty system in ESO, and how will it work? And right now, he says, right now there is not. So currently, there's nothing in.
Well, think about this. There's going to be an expansion pack or DLC or a big patch where they add in Thieves Guild and Dark Brotherhood.
Yes.
And when that stuff's added in, I guarantee you with that will come the prison and crime system.
And that's why I would agree, because especially because of what he said. He says right now. He doesn't say there is not. He says right now there is not. So I would definitely expect that to be added.
Yeah. You can't have a Thieves Guild faction and not have a crime system. It would not make sense. So we'll see a crime system whenever they add in Dark Brotherhood and Thieves Guild. I can guarantee you.
Yep, for sure. Another question here. Are you doing anything new to archery in terms of abilities, attacks to improve archery from past test games as games primarily Skyrim? I just finally want to get an ability to fire multiple arrows. Oh my gosh, he compares himself to Legolas from Lord of the Rings and elemental enchanted arrows. And he says, we've got lots of different archery abilities to go with our bow skill line. Some are different from previous test games. So, yeah, I mean, there's going to be more stuff, obviously. So
I used archery in the beta. And I'll just tell you right now, I was raping face. So, it's fun. It's pretty fun.
It's pretty good. So there you go. That's that.
Yeah, it's fun.
I think we have like a few more questions to get through, and then we'll start wrapping this up. You take the next one if you want, someone.
Sure. This is actually something that we brought up in the past. There are 2 equipment slots. Is it possible to have the same weapon type in each? 2 destruction staves, for example, or even better, can you just use the same exact weapon for both loadouts? Which, how would you do that? You can only have your same exact weapon in one loadout. You can't duplicate the item. Unless you found a duplicate. But limiting perhaps, but 12 skills would make you one awesome DPSer. And he says, yes, you can put whatever type of weapon you like in that second slot. So yes, you carry around 2 destruction staves, knock yourselves out. So yeah, you could have literally 2 daggers and then swap to 2 more daggers if you want. So you have 4 freaking daggers but you technically, because you get that new skill line, you can put 5 completely different skills than the other 2 daggers skills that you're using before. So
I wonder if you have the same dagger equipped and you want the same abilities on each dagger. If you swap, does it cooldown? Is the cooldown shared internally?
there's no cooldowns.
Oh, that's right. So that's pretty sweet. So we were talking about that in like, I don't know, our second or third podcast about, you know, equipping two-handed weapons or something. So that's pretty neat that you could do that. I'm glad that they allow you that freedom, which is cool.
Yeah, like you could totally have, like I'm thinking now, like you could use two-handed swords and have one be all about like charges and stuns, and like just 5 skills that are all about charging and stunning. And then you could switch to your other 2-hand and it's all like cleaves and like AoE stomps and like AoE damage. Like there's gonna be tons of cool different builds.
Is there a cooldown between your weapon swap?
Nope.
It does cost stamina to swap though?
It does. It's a little bit of stamina. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember they said there was going to be a resources for our swapping, so...
You can't just like have like your bow out, shoot an arrow, swap to a second bow, and then, or like a staff, and then shoot a fireball, and then switch back and like use the other spell. You'll use your resources, and then you won't be viable for a few seconds. So you have to be careful. Yeah. That's another good thing. That's another great thing about the combat is you're like, okay, I'm just gonna burn through this shit really fast. No, you start like spending your resources, and you didn't, instead of like blocking or instead of like dodging this way, and I'm just gonna get this extra spell out. All of a sudden, you're out of magic or stamina, and that guy's about to hit you with his power attack, and you have no way to stop it now unless you block right in time. It's pretty cool. Like you have to be strategic with your resources, and that's a very good thing.
Definitely. All right, the next question. Here's my question / topic I'd like you to address if possible. To put it plainly, I'm extremely turned off by faction lock and the lack of immersion that comes from the phasing being applied. As a longtime Elder Scrolls fan, there is a great joy in experiencing open borders. As the game is designed, that's not the case. There's not open borders. You actually go into different areas. We talked about that a little bit. Furthermore, the fact that I must complete the preceding faction zones before heading on also limits immersion. Forming guilds and groups becomes infinitely more difficult, especially for role players like myself who typically like one race or another. And he's asking him to justify the whole, you're locked to one faction until you finish one and reach max level.
And the first sentence in his answer is the best thing ever, by the way.
Yeah, taking yours so people don't think I'm fielding all the easy ones, which he pretty much just said that he was fielding all the easy ones until this one.
Yeah, he admits.
Yeah. And this one's really not even that difficult of a question to answer. Like, it's an opinion thing, really. First, this isn't going to be an exact copy of Elder Scrolls titles. Each Elder Scrolls game has been and will be unique. I can understand your concern. However, when we decided to put in a heavy PvP system where there would be a faction where we wanted those factions to mean something. This is the first Elder Scrolls game where you'll be able to adventure with other people and fight other people. I don't think we need to justify it. I just think we need to be upfront and honest about it. I hope you join us as an Elder Scrolls fan, and I think you'll appreciate the differences as well as the similarities, but thanks for taking the time to ask. So again, he didn't even really answer the question a whole lot.
No, what he did was, I know exactly why. He saw this question and said, this guy is attacking my creative design. He's the creative designer of the game. He's the creative director. Mm-hmm. And what he saw there was, look at this guy attacking me, saying I need to justify why the immersion is lacking in certain things in his opinion. And he was like, you know what? I'm not going to take an easy question about if you can learn dragon shouts. I'm just going to defend. I'm going to defend myself and try to look like a politician and answer this question in a way that doesn't answer it but makes me look good. And that's what he did. Once again, I love you, Paul Sage. I really do. But reading these questions and answers is difficult.
A lot of these answers are a little bit lacking, for sure.
Yeah. Seriously now, come on.
The next question is a very simple one again. One of the things that make MMOs great to me is epic gear, new unique items, rare mounts. Is Elder Scrolls going to have this? And the answer is, of course, yes. If the answer was no,
Yeah, right.
like, of course the answer is yes. What kind of question is that? Anyways.
Right. It's like, are there going to be unique epic items in an MMO? No shit, Sherlock.
Of course there is. Next question. So if one day I feel bored and get crazy, idea to run from coast to coast, yeah, Forest Gump and Tamriel. Example from Winterhold, Skyrim to South Point, Valenwood. How many hours would it take? Honestly, I have no idea, but I recommend getting a mount. Basically saying, probably going to take you a while.
Yeah.
Which, when I think of it, I think of, Skyrim and that world. If you went from, side to side, and that is going to take you a while. A long time.
Well, imagine this. You have to run from the top corner of Skyrim, all the way through Skyrim, through Cyrodiil, a little bit of Elsewhere, and then into Valenwood, all the way to the south. Dude, that would take forever.
I hope it takes forever.
I hope so too.
Yeah, me too.
That is so much. Just imagine running from one. Have you ever ran from one edge of Skyrim to the other in one sitting just to do it?
No.
I have.
I did a playthrough of Skyrim where I promised myself I was going to do no quick travel, and
it's too hard not to.
It takes it's too much.
Yeah.
Which is, it makes you appreciate the game a lot more, especially when you're just like, you know what, I'm not going to quick travel. I'm literally going to run or, ride a horse the whole way. And while that makes the game like super immersive, like not having the quick travel or anything like that, man, it's crazy sometimes. It gets difficult at points.
Right.
But yeah.
Well, we're gonna have way shrines in ESO, which are basically like, think Diablo 2 waypoints,
Right.
And if you go to a waypoint, you can for free. If you go up to it and hit E, I can travel from this waypoint to another for free. But if I'm just out somewhere in the wilderness and I hit map and hit M, look at my map, and I click the way shrine, I can travel to a way shrine, but it's going to cost me gold. And let's say I travel to a way shrine and then I run away from it, and then I immediately like, oh shit, let me travel somewhere else. And I hit M again and quick travel instead of going back to the way shrine and manually doing it, and I just do it off my map. There's going to be a massive gold find because you just traveled. So after you quick travel, if you open your map, you can actually see a gold count, like a price for traveling that goes down by 1 gold like every second.
Yeah.
So it's like 291, 290, 289, and then it gets cheaper and cheaper the longer it's been since you last fast traveled. So that's a cool system.
I really like that for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah.
Now, I'm not sure if this is the last question, but it might be. In regards to character creation system, I am exceptionally eager to learn whether the various elven races are going to be designed in a way in which makes them a little more distinct than simply coming across as looking like humans with long ears. Thus, I'm curious as to whether they have a distinct look along a similar look to how they have been in previous test games, whilst being reasonably attractive and appealing. I don't know why he chose to answer this question, but he did. I'm really pleased to report that the various Mer do indeed look very different, and I think you can make them look both attractive and unattractive as you desire. And with that, I am out of time, actually a little over. I'm sorry if I didn't get to your question. I tried to go in order and then just some random ones here and there. Time passed by fast, and as I said, I'm not the speediest of typists. Again, thank y'all very much for the questions. I hope to see you in the game, except the one guy who asked me about dragons.
Yeah, there's definitely like hot elves and ugly elves and shit like that. Like, they definitely want to give you some pretty characters to look at in the game, MMO style. But there's definitely ugly ass ones too, though. So
I'll just say too before we go on that I think he chose the easy road in this this QA session.
Yeah, you did.
Paul Sage, you chose the easy road, brah. Come on, man.
You're the creative director, man. You should be able to have some leeway with what kind of questions and what you can get away with answering. I'm sure Matt Firerohr, who is the lead developer, I'm sure you guys see each other every day, and you can just be like, "Yo, Matt,
Yeah.
could I please throw him a freaking bone and answer an actual question instead of, yes, you can play this game online? Like, come on, give us something good." I mean, there was a couple of decent ones, but overall,
It's been a couple weeks now since E3, and there really hasn't been a whole lot that's come out that we can talk about. That's new stuff. So I was really hoping to get some really new, fun information for you guys this week, but a little bit of stuff, but not a whole lot really.
Hey man, in a month we have PAX Prime, so
PAX Prime is going to be the next really big step, I think, as far as ESO goes and everything. So definitely, guys, be ready for that. I mean, me and Soma are both going to be at PAX Prime, so hopefully we can get a bunch of cool things for you guys. Try to get some exclusive stuff. Maybe that'd be freaking sweet. But we'll be there and we'll do as much as we can, get all the information we can for you guys.
Definitely.
Now, do we want to talk really quick? You wanted to bring up the immersion in ESO, and we can quickly touch on that, and then we'll wrap this up here somewhat shortly.
Yeah. So, MMOs and immersion. Things that immerse me in an MMO that make me want to stay in the game and feel like I'm a part of a world is the feeling of freedom to run from one zone to another without loading screens, and to cross borders into different countries and to experience other content without ever having a break in the action. I'm talking running from a desert plain to a lush forest and never once seeing a loading screen. That is important to me. That's immersive. I really need ESO to have that in the game. Another thing is map. The map is so important to me in any MMO. If I cannot open my map and see the entire world, and then see my little blue dot of where I am, World of Warcraft style of where I am in the world,
right,
I lose my sense of where I am. I lose sense of how massive the game world is. And I don't know if you guys have seen the gameplay trailers of ESO. I'm sure you have, but there's a gameplay trailer of ESO where it shows a character running through different locations of the game, and he goes to like visits way shrines, and like he attacks a troll and like blocks with the shield, and then he opens his map. And when he opens his map, it's one little section of where he's at. And if you look at it, there's a little magnifying glass on the bottom. And that's how you switch to other map pieces. If Elder Scrolls Online does not launch with a giant world map that allows me to just zoom in on whatever country I'm in and to zoom out and to see all of Tamriel, and if I'm like, okay, I want to zoom in on Morrowind now and see the country of Morrowind, and then I click that and I see the whole country, and then I can click within Morrowind to the zones within Morrowind. If I can't do that kind of shit with the map, I am going to be extremely, extremely disappointed. I need to see a world map. And I think that really brings immersion to an MMO. And I don't know if ESO is going to have that. I don't know if ESO is going to have a seamless transition from zones, or am I going to have loading screens? I don't mind a loading screen whenever I walk into a tavern.
That's a difficult thing to do, though. I mean, it's probably easier to make it where there's no loading screen walking into a tavern than it is to make it where there's no loading screen walking into
think about
a different zone.
Yeah, but let's say I'm going to use Skyrim as an example.
Okay.
If you run up to a tavern, you hit the E button, there's a quick loading screen, and now you're inside that little phased tavern area, right?
Right.
And then you want to leave the tavern, you open the door, there's a quick loading screen, and then you're outside. That little break in the action is very realistic to me. Okay, that's opening a door and closing it. I get that. But if I'm running from Morrowind, and then I see the border of Skyrim and Morrowind, and I cross that border, and then there's this 10-second loading screen, and then I turn around and I can see Morrowind behind me. If I take a step backwards, I hit that 10-second loading screen again, and I'm in Morrowind, and then the map changes, and I can only see Morrowind, and I can't even see the map that's 5 feet away from me, of this zone that's 5 feet away from me. That breaks immersion and breaks the game.
Yeah.
I need to be able to run from Morrowind into Skyrim, have my map open, see myself, cross the border, and not have a loading screen. That is so important to me. It's so important to me, and I really hope they don't crush my little dreams.
Yeah, I agree. I really hope that they work on the map and make the system quite well, because it's from what we've heard and what you've seen, it's definitely not where we're hoping it should be. Hopefully it's an early implementation and they're gonna have more iterations of it as the beta goes on. But yeah, I mean they've got a lot of time. I mean a ton of time. I know we're quite critical on some things about the game right now, but as anybody who's excited about a game and wants a game to be good, being critical of it and stuff like that, it is good. I mean, people being critical of games they like is a good sign. It means the community's alive and they're excited about the game that's coming out. So
exactly,
it's good. I mean, loading screens are. Nobody likes loading screens. Like, loading screens blow. Like, nobody likes loading screens. But as far as MMOs go, some of the areas are so big that it's hard to load in two separate areas and have that transition be seamless. So
I know. It just, after being spoiled with World of Warcraft, which came out a fucking decade ago, and I could run all the way across Kalimdor without stopping, without not once getting a load screen, and seeing all those different beautiful locations, and running through contested territory, and then back into friendly territory, and then running into enemy territory, and that was so good. That's what made World of Warcraft awesome.
yeah,
And to take out those features and to not have that. First of all, I can't go to enemy territory in ESO. They've already said that. If I want to PvP, I gotta go to Citadel.
Yep.
That's already a limiting factor right there. But that's something that I'm cool with. I get it. Okay, I can't PvP in my faction territory. I gotta go to Citadel. I'm willing to live with that, even though it sucks. Next, if I can't run, like that guy said in his question, from Skyrim to Valenwood, and there's 10 loading screens because I'm going through certain zones on the way there, and there's different broken up map pieces, and I can't just follow the world map and run from one corner to the other. Broke. That's broken to me. That's not good. I'm spoiled, and I have a certain. I know I sound like a little bitch right now. I'm totally cool with that. I'm totally fine with that, because like we said before, MMOs in the past have created a foundation and have put groundwork down, and that's what people expect from games. And when new MMOs come out and they want to compete with World of Warcraft, which already has all these awesome features, they need to have every feature there ready, right? And to not have stuff like dueling, to not have stuff like world PvP, and to be able to enter contested territory, all of that stuff is terrible. That's not good. But it's all stuff I'm willing to live with. And then you're telling me, no, we're not going to have a big world map. It's going to be sectioned off maps, and you have to load it into every zone you go into. It just seems like it's steps back.
yeah.
It's like they're taking steps backwards. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, again, we're early beta. Hopefully some things change. Let's quickly go over the highlights of what we talked about today as far as the main things from the AMA. I think the biggest thing that we talked about, well, two of the biggest things we talked about is, one, there's absolutely no dueling in the game, which
Why?
it kind of sucks.
Makes no sense.
It really does. It kind of sucks.
Why can't they take a weekend where everyone comes in, all right, let's work on a Saturday today and figure this thing out, guys? They could do that. But
Right.
No.
You can equip two of the same exact weapon and have different skills on your list, which is cool. That's something that we had a question about earlier, which is now 100% officially confirmed, which is neat. What else was there that we came across that was cool?
I don't know. I think after reading this, we mostly just got negative and butthurt after reading this whole thing.
It wasn't as good as we thought it was going to be. Well, it wasn't. I mean, we were hoping for some more juicy answers, but
it was underwhelming.
It was a little underwhelming.
Now, I'm telling you guys, I've said this many, many times. I have played the beta. I've played the game. It is amazing. I rotted for 22 hours this last weekend in my first session of play because I couldn't stop. I was addicted to it, just like I was back in the day when I started playing WoW. And I didn't get that with SWTOR. I didn't get that with Neverwinter. I didn't get that with any other MMO besides WoW. But I did with this. That is all the sign I need to know that it's going to be good. But they have some shit to work on, girl, let me tell you.
Yeah,
they got some stuff to do under the hood.
All right, before we wrap it up, I'll go over some of the quick questions I see in the chat. Paladin, there's no business model yet. They haven't come out with that information. I'm going to assume that that'll hopefully be released PAX Prime, which is in about a month. Are the graphics the reason for the need to have loading screens? Now, I was kind of talking about this with Soma. I would assume the need for that is partially, at least that reason. They have a lot of really nice high-res textures in this game, and obviously the graphics in this game are a lot better than what you will see in WoW. So WoW can afford to have a larger area and not have, loading screens between them because it's a lot smaller texture files and stuff like that. And the textures in this game are amazing. So I think that's definitely a part of it. Yes, I don't think it's the main reason, but it's definitely part of the reason. That's for sure. But yeah. And why is there no dueling? That doesn't make any sense. I agree either. It doesn't make any sense. It seems like it should be something that would automatically be implemented in every MMO from here on out. I don't understand why it's not in the game. It doesn't make sense. There should always be dueling in any MMO because people want to test things. If there's PvP in your game, there should be dueling. Period.
Yeah, I mean, and even just the lore in itself, like, Nords like to get drunk and fight each other. And if I'm a Nord and I am playing with another Nord friend and I want to roleplay and drink mead at the tavern and then duel them, I can't. We can just sit there and rub shoulders, but our shoulders will go inside of each other because there's no collision. So it'll look all awkward.
And you don't want to get a rash.
We don't want a rash. Let me duel my buddies. Why? What's the harm?
I agree.
What's the frickin' harm, man? I don't know.
Add dueling to the game, you bastards. Okay, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this week's podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. We will be back next week. Hopefully we got some awesome new information for you guys. Again, if you guys enjoy the podcast, please follow me at Deagen TV on Twitter and Soma at Jordan THD on Twitter. His Twitch is also there. I'm sure he'll post it in chat here in a minute.
Sure.
If you guys have questions that you want answered on the podcast or topics you want discussed, send it to us, either in a Twitch message or on Twitter, and we will be sure, if it's a good question, obviously, to add it into the podcast.
I have a question.
What is your question, kind sir?
Can I learn dragon shouts and ride a dragon in ESO?
I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. Our hero, on comes.
We're gonna have Soma I'm gonna write a song and we're gonna have Soma sing it, and it's gonna be our new intro video for our podcast.
Oh, that's not gonna happen.
It's happening. It's happening. It's really happening. Okay, guys, we love you. Thank you for watching the stream. We appreciate it. Definitely, please follow us.
Thanks, guys.
Or we'll cry. That's not true.
No.
Thank you for watching. We'll be back next week. Have a good night.